Okay, now we have a stable connection. So this is the setting of momentum for the month of September 2025 in all time zones. And perhaps the focus for first 15 days would be different. And then depending upon the output, the focus for next 15 days would be different. Or rather, I would say the output of the 15th day would be the input for the next 15 days. Okay, perhaps there are a couple of, okay, I did make the notes, but I don't want to go point wise, because I just got a message from one of my very close colleague, although he is of Korean origin. Um, he's based out in US, and his event is on right now. So I'll be touch basing on that topic first from the tourism point of view. Okay, so first of all, we will touch base on the topic of travel and tourism, and particularly from the viewpoint where folks from Indian origin are traveling for whatever reasons. The pain point, or rather the understanding, which I just want to take few steps back and make folks understand or start even, understanding the thought process why people travel. Um, Even before you travel, you need to answer this question to your own self. I mean, why are you traveling? What is the purpose of that travel? That purpose has to be defined. Why I say so, when we're talking about tourism, when we're talking about these Madrid protocols and stuff, where the countries sign MOU in terms of the development process. Honestly speaking, the protocols of India were one of the robust protocols, which is a standing model for the other countries to follow. This country is not a country of one tribe or one vibe or anything less than a, I don't want to get into the religious angle. This is not religion, it is a kind of communication or articulation uh, between individuals, and it's only the English as a language which is universal in the world, and most folks all over the world are taught this language so that there's a common signal through which one can communicate the thought process in one way or the other, or in one verse or the other. That being said, what is important here is to understand a fundamental impact when tourism is being said, and all these protocols are being followed, and people are traveling from one place to the other, particularly from what has happened in past couple of months, particularly in India, which should not have happened if these protocols were not breached. One such protocol is, what are you carrying in your luggage and stuff. Nowadays, if you folks who are traveling to US, they are checked at the entry gate itself in terms of what are you carrying in your luggage. Now, the baggage of the luggage, I mean, I have worked on zillion applications. Again, these are related to the intellectual property stuff, which is ongoing in all these sectors, and particularly in the carrier sector for the longest time. And I have been working in intellectual property rights now more than on record 20 years plus plus. However, being on the internet, I mean, for the longest time. I don't want to even give it a year right now, because then folks start coding around that, and then the mess happens, and then I have to again get back, work with the team, and try to unbundle the stuff, which is really just a painstaking stuff, because the energy has to be diverted to solve the massive problems which are existing right now. And one such problem is the weight of the individuals. Although the carrier weight is one weight, obviously there's simple formulation when you are traveling from one place to the other. If lightweight people are traveling from one place to the other, the the fuel usage is going to be less. If more weight is being carried, then so there's a lot of articulation and mathematical stuff involved here. What I'm trying to say here is folks who are carrying food stuff with them, and all these the MTRs and these and or whatever these companies are ready to eat food. So what happens is there is a lot of garbage which is being produced by the individuals. I'm not pinpointing India, but I'm just talking about in general per se. When you're traveling from one place to the other, the intent should be, which I think should is a good intent, is to not be travel light. What is important here is to embrace the culture of the other city, because that is what the traveling is all about. For me at least, travel is all about learning, upskilling myself, whether even if it is a official travel. I take my days prior to that day and I stay back, learn about the culture, understand things, and then only articulate it in the best possible manner. Of course, that is the kind of work I have been doing for the longest time. However, what is important here is when you are carrying your own food and all that stuff, you are increasing the weight. Secondly, you are not putting money into the economy of the other countries. If you're traveling somewhere and there's a stoppage, and if you're not eating at that particular place, whatever food is being because they get the people at the back end, because of the tech, they understand these many people are going to come today and these many people are going to eat today. So accordingly, food is pre-cooked little bit, whatever the protocols are for the different dishes. And that's why there are restaurants which are very focused on preparing only little, or in the sense, what I mean to say here is henceforth, at least September onwards, everything has to be at an upper cap. Say, for example, 100 of X, 100 of Y. Now, XYZ, I don't want to get into the protocol of this, but say, for example, okay, what do I have in front of me? I have this Lakmé stuff. This is supposed to be Lakmé Ultimate Glam Compact. Um, Unilever. Okay, Unilever is a global company, let me tell you. And then the thing what I want to say here is you have to minimize the number of articles being manufactured so that the wastage is low. That calculation has to be redone. You cannot be working in the quantity right now. The quantity thing is not working out. I was going through the data sets of all these platforms. Most of the platforms are selling stuff which is infringing intellectual property rights of other countries. Say, for example, the Swiss word. Swiss word is supposed to be the Swiss chocolate. Um, any person of ordinary skill in the art, if I'm the patent expert and I have to give evidence in front of any of these courts, it would be Swiss itself means it is originating from there, or this has some kind of origination. So is the Swiss government getting a royalty out of it? That's the question as a person who is developing a product should be answering. And Lakme is not from today. It's like not my grandmother's time, but at least my mother's college time and all. It is a good product. I mean, right now, at least my Indian set of products which I'm using, because I use international products and everything. But yes, if I talk about an India brand which talks to me is Lakme, and this is not a paid anything. Then I just want to talk and touch base on the intellectual property rights, particularly from the point of sustainability, because of so much distress happening. A lot of skilled artisans globally are going to suffer. And since we know this input data that the global artisans globally are going to suffer, as responsible stakeholders, we should be doing something to mitigate this whole scenario. What I'm not saying is purchasing that, but I'm just trying to articulate the understanding of sustainability, because what I saw at the Delhi Haat is the main Delhi Haat in south of Delhi, which is near the Ames. Loads of these, under the name of sustainability, are selling stuff at a premium price, but the quality doesn't even suffice that. That being said, this is a leather bag, and it's a very, very, I mean, perhaps this is from 2004. So today I'm going to refurbish this. Refurbish is not that I'm just going to apply. I got uh, this company Woods. It has traditional. It's a shoe care. So it's this one is a leather one. So I'm going to refurbish this in terms of I'm just going to polish this, and this is one of the designs of that point of time. So this is a kind of a stitch. Um, I don't know the name of the stitch. I call it cross stitch because that's how I know it. Then I'll talk about another intellectual property right. This particular stuff, this is supposed to be a registered industrial design. So this is industrial design, and it resonates a lot with me, my own persona, because I'm a skater. I still skate. I love to skate. It's just that I have to be careful. I can't be skating anywhere and everywhere. But since this is something which is like second of me, if I have to pick up of all the sports, if I have to pick up a sport, it would be skating. Um, Perhaps if I just open this, this is supposed to be okay. This is made in USA, and this is Bath and Body Works patent number. It's www.patents. So it's one of the industrial designs. I'll go through this, but the viewpoint here was that you can keep a freshener inside. It can be any kind of freshener. They have their own capsules, but I'm trying to make my own capsule in terms of the fragrance I like, and then probably I'm going to use it. And the point of contention here is copying is the easiest thing to do. Let me tell you. However, the point here is the whole government of litigation and this patent trolling and stuff, which again is being proposed in and out for all these years, and particularly when I was back from China in the year I think it was 2018, and we are making funds, we are doing this, we are doing that. Honestly speaking, it doesn't work for a country like India, in which we have so many artisan skills. What the need of the hour is, rather than getting into the trolling process, because this is how the US economy has been developed. India is just the opposite in terms of intellectual property rights. India has a lot of artisans. India, perhaps if you just take Uttar Pradesh itself is big on the map. If you see the Indian map, and itself, if you see the fertile land, the kind of geographical indications we have, it is of another order altogether. And the kind of artisan stuff we have. So the point of contention here is because the festive season is nearby, perhaps I'm not saying don't promote the other things. See, a lot of good things are there in the country from all over the place. If I have to give one example, I was just going through the intellectual property rights today. So this one is particularly from Korea. And this is a very utility kind of stuff. Why it is utility, I'll tell you. Um, Perhaps, obviously, the designing is such where you can put your handheld devices. Then it has the zip quality is good, and zipper itself is one of the innovations which was done very early in US. And since it has blah blah blah, and then we have this stuff here also, you have another chain, and then you can keep your stuff. So this is from Korea. Now there's another whole section of stuff which is talking about the Korean beauty products in terms of um, from time and again. I talk about the Indian context. Beautification has been one of the major uh, I won't say it's an ailment, but this is how it has been portrayed, that the melanin decides the beauty. The answer is big no. I mean, if you see the global stuff, it is not the beauty of the skin color, it is the beauty of how you articulate the intellectual stuff, because it's all I see means because when we talk about creativity, creativity is all about communication. Communication again is about all the intellectual IC, and there's a lot of stuff in terms of intellectual properties right now where people don't even understand what a sound mark is all about, and but at the same point of time, they are users of that mark, and so this is the basic landscape for this month. Perhaps I would urge everyone to go back and see the devices which are working. if they're in a working condition, just use that device. You don't need new devices, because this what is happening is another school of thought process which India needs to control is the surveillance on the kids and the teenagers, because they are open to so much of tech right now, which is not good for their own sustenance. um, Perhaps the earlier video which I talked about, it was related to the stuff of the prime time things. And I remember when we were growing up, I mean, I'm still growing up in all capacity, but when we actually went to that, a boarding kind of a school, there was a schedule, and all the televisions and the broadcasting rights were like switched off. There was no remote, there was nothing. You couldn't watch television. The only thing you had to do is come back from your school. If you want to take rest, and then you just get onto your homework stuff, and then your, the teachers of your house, that can be any member of the family or this external teacher coming to take classes, and that's how you spend your time till 10 and 11 o'clock in night. And then if any bandwidth is left, I won't say bandwidth is the right word, I would rather say whatever energy is left, you will, people like us, at least I used to hear, I'm big on listening stuff. So whatever gadgets I had, and always I got the best of the gadgets. That's the good thing which I feel about everything. Because even before this, I'm just trying to unlock one of my iPhones right now. This is disabled for I don't know how many years now. So this one was bought somewhere in 2016, 2017. So I'm just trying to unlock this right now. So the point here is, um, the older the device, and if you know the tech behind the device, and of course we are into the patent stuff, we understand the patenting stuff very well. But the point of contention I was trying to bring here is, okay, this is some kind of 3rd of April Thursday morning, 9 o'clock, 17 hours. Okay. um, the point here is, even before Apple came into existence, I don't know, at least in India, there was a boom of pagers. Pagers were there. Then we had these Chinese phones, which were costing around, at that point of time, 2000, 1500, 2500, 3000. And it was more of a, snake and ladder kind of stuff, where you were uh, tackling the initiatives of the Chinese companies in understanding the landscape of how these devices work in terms of the handle devices. And fortunately, I got hand on every model at that point of time. Particularly, I'll say from 1999 onwards till whatever the time was before Apple came into existence. Um, and of course, I had to shift to Apple because Apple wanted me to shift to Apple. I have been big on Dell for the longest time. Perhaps HP never articulated in my head in terms of their laptops and everything. But yes, lap the laptop of Dell particularly, I have used it for the longest time. The Windows and everything, and I've used other Chrome networks also, and that was one reason when we were articulating what operating system we want to put our innovation onto. So we thought we'll just go full swing on a new network, which is the Impala network. So let's see. Perhaps what I'm seeing right now is, and from my sources, that the delegation is doing quite well. Our whole delegation is quite impressed with the work and the MOUs which are being signed off right now, and I see a lot of mutual respect between both the countries, and I am pretty sure we are going to sign a lot more treaties, which is going to change the landscape of not only how other countries treat India. Particularly, I just want to end this video with few of my factual stuff before uh, we kick in September. So I talked about the idea, not the idea, but the understanding of the KPO unit. And since I understood this, that this US outsourcing is not going to work because there are too many players in the market, and competition is something I don't like. So I just rather go into another direction, create something, have the first move advantage, and be so ahead in the curve that nobody can even, come close to that curve. That being said, so there was something called as BD. BD is basically business development. So in business development, in those days, or perhaps now also, people send, cold call this work for just peanuts, and that's how their businesses run. Okay, there was unstable connect. Now it's okay. So the point was, there was once I had written to one of the law firm based on which state, but was US based, and the email reply which I got, which actually not shocked me, but which was like, okay, fine enough. There would be one day where this country will understand the power of India, and that was when they said that India is a third world country. It was a very rude email from that particular law firm. And those are the law firms today, at least from the name I can recollect, are trying to enter India big time, because they are trying to put the same patent trolling, operations in India, which is not going to work, because you can troll in your own country, but you cannot troll in a country which is not a country of one dialect. This is a country of 30 plus dialect, or rather, I would say a country of 60 plus dialect. Even um, my dialect is very different in terms of, I'm born and brought up in New Delhi. My dialect is very different from the folks who are in Delhi itself, because I come from an army protocol, then into a convent, and then so many other protocols being part of all my life. Uh, it was very, very clear to my head that what needs to be done in a way where it is a amicable situation for everyone. We cannot be bullying. One should not bully someone, and one should not be bullied also at the same point of time. And that is where the power of unity comes into existence. There are a lot of ministers in India who are one in all aspects. There are a lot of ministers who don't understand anything, because their understanding of intellectual property is negative of 0.99 of raised to the power infinity, whatever formulation we put in. And it is not because it is their fault. It is just that intellectual property rights is way, way, way ahead in the curve. And people who actually understood intellectual property rights left the country very early. And I have been given opportunities, not today or yesterday. Every day there's one opportunity or the other from some country or the other, stating that why don't you join us? They want to take my interview, and I'm like, who am I to be interviewed for anything? I've what I've realized in last, I would rather say in last 90 days, that I have changed a lot because of the lockdown stuff. Earlier, I was, keen to talk to people, meet new folks, to understand their culture and all. But now I have so much on my, radar, that I don't need any new interference of any sort, because the protocols are good, everything is going well. India is doing very well as a country. Although, yes, I understand not a lot is understood by many, but if you go to the common ground, if you go to the normal people, you will realize they would say that under the present government, India has progressed a lot, because you cannot see the progress report of just 10 years. You have to see you have to see whether India progressed after the independence or not. We were still uh, kind of a bullock cart country in many ways, but things have changed a lot. It's just that it is just a matter of time where we are able to turn and braid the right strings. And once the braiding is good enough, we would be enabled to be, we are a superpower, let me tell you. And that's what China has been stating. And I'm just echoing with both the ministers and the group of ministers and other people who are really making these two countries that superpower which becomes one. And that cannot be, um, that is the best thing which can happen with the utilization of the tech. Thank you for watching out the video. Please send those DMs. That helps a lot, so that we get to know the sentiments of others, how they want to progress in whatever capacity. But bullying is not allowed in any sense whatsoever in the month of September. Thank you for watching out the video. Have a great, great, great September ahead.